What comes to your mind when you hear the numbers 23, 21? I'll just give you a second to think about it. Thought about it yet? Because to me, I think about the number of goals that Kaizer Chiefs have considered, 23. The number of goals that they've scored, 21. And this actually seemed like it was going to be solved like 4 weeks ago. We started seeing a certain guy from Botswana by the name of, what's his name again? Oh, Tadeahone Titlokwe. And a week ago, he was sold. And a week later, Chiefs got absolutely destroyed. Now, this is not me about to rant about why Chiefs sold Titlokwe, because people already said, oh, it was good amount of money. But when I look closely, I think that the situation could have been dealt with differently, especially with the article that I read from Sowetan that said something that I was suspecting happened, and it actually seems like it did happen based on that report. And we're also going to talk about the other thing that Kaizer Chiefs failed to address, the 21. Now we're going back to renting. Or are we? We will see. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I'm Pilo, I'm your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Khosi Football Club. Let's start with the 23. So 23 goals conceded. People always talk about Chiefs and the fact that, oh no, the midfield this, the midfield that. And yes, there's been problems in midfield, and Otabo Cele has solved some of those problems. But he's not going to solve every problem, because even when Oaks Mtetwa was introduced, he was still very good at destroying and doing all of those things. But also he just ran out of steam because we started seeing his limitations. Same with Umart, can win the ball back, but then he's going to lose the ball at times. And most of the times, you get me. So we have those problems. And then Thabo Cele comes in, he can try and play the ball from deep, but then he can't collect the ball from everywhere. You have Abo Matlo who are inconsistent in midfield. So I acknowledge there are problems in midfield. But at the same time, there are more problems at the back. And one thing that is key when you are building is that once you have found something that works, and Kaizer Chiefs have found something that worked, which is playing Utitloko at left back, Inacio Miguel and Utotli, a centre back pairing, and right back Frosla or Bloom. That seemed like it was working. And then somehow we sold the player. And now I read this article from Sowetan that says that Utitloko wanted to leave Kaizer Chiefs. Well, that's it, Mpelo. Why are you being stupid? He wanted to leave, and Chiefs were going to get a lot of money. But the player wanted to leave because he wasn't happy. And it stems from the fact that, one, they wanted to sell him, and he wasn't happy with the fact that he was not being given enough game time. And I would be mad as well if I play a clean game and then in the very next game Bradley Cross starts ahead of me. I wouldn't like that, especially if I'm giving the performances that Cross was, that Utitlok was given. So when Al Ittihad came with an offer, he was like, yeah, I'm going. And the team was like, okay, we're going to let you go. But that is stupid. I'm just going to say it. They were going to get 15 million. But who cares about 15 million? Who cares about 15 million if you have a player who's worth that much, who can solidify and be a good left back for you? Titloko plays left back for you, Botswana. So him playing out of position at Chiefs, which is because he was signed as a centre back, it wasn't going to be a big deal. Like we've seen about John Stones when Manchester City won the Premier League and eventually later that year won the Champions League. John Stones was playing as a right back, and then he would invert into midfield and play as a second six. Never complained. Utitlokwe starts as a left back, but then he inverts into the back line and it becomes part of a back three. So in a way, he's actually still playing his position. If the coaches, the coaching staff, the management set him down and they're like, listen, we made a wrong judgment with you, because another reason is that Titlok apparently felt like he wasn't being trusted. And of course, I would feel like you don't trust me if I perform and then you bench me the very next game. I wouldn't be happy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Nabi must be sacked, but I'm saying that you find something that works. You don't try to force things. Right now, Titlok seemed like he was working pretty well. Like even when they played him as a centre back when Totli was out, he played very well in that position. You don't have a replacement guy Totli, but you also have someone who can be a starter next to Totli. If you want to push Totli forward and play him as a left back, try Utitlokwe as a left back. But we didn't do that. So now, the question that I then have is, if you see that you have something that works for you, Why ruin it? Why has management prioritized money over building the club? Because I can tell you now, Chiefs is not going to take the 16, 15, 14, 12, or however much money that they got from Titlokwe and reinvest that very same amount on another left back. They're gonna take some money and put it in their pockets. You get me? So you are building, but then someone was saying this thing, Guti, how come you can say you are building and then at the same time you sell the cement that you are going to use to plaster this room, the sand, what is it? The cement rather that you are going to mix with the sand and then put the bricks together. You don't do that. I mean, under Atazwane, it was the same thing. We had found the solution of Funjabulo Plum as a 6, was playing very well, but the management failed to renew his contract and then the man ended up leaving. Clearly had no grudges with Chiefs because he came back the very first opportunity that presented itself. So I'm pretty sure that with some convincing, with making Titlokwe believe that, listen, you are a very important part of the team and you can stay here for the next 6 months, and if you still want to leave, you can leave in June. Because right now, what are we going to do? Mashiane is like injured, and then Cross is not confident at all. And now people are going to do to Cross what they've been doing to Ranga. Because they're going to pull him. Because he's made so many mistakes that have cost the team. Against Stellenbosch, he made a mistake, which obviously was not just his mistake, but people don't remember that it was a chain of mistakes. They remember his. And people remember his from SuperSport United, which was like our biggest humiliation of the season. I know we've lost to Sundowns with a bigger scoreline, 4-0, but losing to SuperSport United and conceding goals to Nukovic, our former player, and worst of all, Usahile. That is embarrassing, and people are still remembering those things. But we're not also just there. We also want to talk about the 21, because I don't want to be that person. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, just make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you have already subscribed, I mean, you know what to do. Anyways, the other thing is the 21, the number of goals that we have scored. Now, when Tashreeq Morish was signed by Kaizer Chiefs, I sat here, and not here, in my other studio, and complain about the fact that we need a finisher, we need someone who can score goals. And then 2 days or 3 days after that, I came back and I was like, okay, this is what you can expect from Morris, which is going to be pressing and all of that. I said it. And he's been doing that. But he's also gotten very good opportunities that he has missed. Some fans are starting to say, when is he scoring? He's a striker. Because Ulilepo has gotten arguably harder chances, but he has scored them. So now there are questions of, is Morris really the striker that Chiefs should have signed? From a defensive point of view, yes, because he's very good at winning the ball for us. And when we're attacking as well, sometimes he keeps the ball for us. But if you are playing against teams like SuperSport, he does not become that useful, because when they play the ball long, SuperSport are going to win those headers. You get me? And you need someone who's going to play and especially score goals, mate. And Morris has not done that. And I hope that he does score. But this thing of hoping and not being sure that this is the right player 100% that you want is a problem for me. So I just hope that Chiefs will see the mistakes that they've made. And one, don't sell players that you need. That's the first. Secondly, even right now, what are they doing? Do they want to keep Frosler or do they not want to keep Frosler? Because if they don't want to keep Frosler, I hope they have a better and suitable right back to replace him. Left back. The coach did say that the priority is getting a specialized left back, by the way, which by him saying that he means, yeah, he did not like using Utitloko. He didn't say that, but that is implied in saying that we need a specialist left back, not a makeshift left back. He didn't say that, not the makeshift part, but I'm just implying from what he said. So I hope that in June, not in June, right now, they are working on these things, because what pisses me off about the Chiefs is that in June, the transfer window is closing on the 31st of August. And then on the 17th of August, Kaizer Chiefs are still inquiring about players. And then at the end of the day, if we don't get those players, we'll play Mamelodi Sundowns. Right? So I hope that we are targeting and we're talking already, opening talks with the players who we need as strikers, right backs, and most of all the striker, because midfield, like you have depth. you have depth in midfield. You can still play uBlom there in midfield. Bakhona Ox nabo noma bengaphelele as much as you want. Abo Matlo, Abo Castillo are coming back from injuries. Renew the contracts of the players like Abo Castillo, because you know they can give you something. So Chiefs must take care of business, because if they don't take care of business, then we end up suffering and complaining all the time. And trust me, I don't like to complain. But what are your guys' thoughts? Do you think that Chiefs made a mistake by selling Utitlokwe, or do you think that the money was good enough, so it was an offer that is not to be refused? And in general, do you actually think that Chiefs will be keeping players like Abo Frosler? Do you want them to be kept? And which players whose contracts are running out at the end should be renewed and released? Do let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.